Hey everybody, welcome back to the Caves Cast podcast. I'm Jeremy,
And I'm Ryan.
and there's some news that I want to get into right now
Yeah.
because it affects everybody. And I
Yes.
don't okay, so we don't talk about our political beliefs on this show purely for the fact that that's not what we're here to do.
Right.
We are here to excuse me. God. We're here to talk about comics, the comics we love, the comics that we critique, the characters we like, etc., etc., etc. It doesn't need to go much deeper than that. But it's when politics directly affect comic books is when I think it's appropriate to talk about it.
Yeah.
So I don't care what side of the fence that you're standing on in terms of American politics. Tariffs aren't these tariffs that are happening are not good for
No.
anybody. Because of those, comic books are going to be seeing an increase in price purely for the fact that they are manufactured out of Canada. Image has already said that they're going to raise prices. And I'm sure Marvel and DC will follow suit if they aren't already planning some kind of statement about it.
Right.
It just sucks, man. Like it doesn't matter. Like I said, it doesn't matter what side of the political fence you sit on. This is it's not fun for anybody. Having to pay more money for the things that we love for the same for what I can only imagine is only going to be like either of the same quality or worse given time. And I'm trying not to look at it from like a total like pessimistic perspective, but
I mean, well, we kind of can look at like what happened with COVID, right? I mean, I think if DC and Marvel don't raise their prices, I think we're gonna go back to that terrible quality, that like newspaper
well,
almost.
and here's the other thing I think about too is last year Marvel had just said that they were gonna like recommit to a 3.99 price point.
I don't
There's
think
no
that's
there's no way that can happen now.
no.
The only way that this evens out is if they bump all books that are 3.99 to 4.99, and that's just the base price across the board. But I don't think that increasing books that are currently 4.99 to 5.99 is the solution.
No.
It is not. I think raising the floor price for comics, like the entire line, like the lowest line, 3.99, I feel like raising that is should be enough.
Yeah.
I'm not, I don't know what the numbers are for any of that. And this is just purely me spitballing and, shooting it out of my ass. Like it's not really anything. It doesn't have any substance. But I I can't imagine a timeline where raising all books, no matter what, like a dollar is beneficial to everybody. Because think about it this way. It's not just the lower level books that are going to be affected if you do that. It's going to be all of the 25th issue, anniversary specials. Instead of 5.99, it'll be 6.99. And then you get your annuals that are 6.99. And then all your books that were 7.99 will be 8.99. And then so on and so on and so on and so on. And where's the ceiling with that is you have books that are already 9.99 or not 10.99, and you're going to push that up even further for the same shit that we've been getting.
Well, that's a worry for sure. And also a worry is that once these tariffs go away, that they just kind of stay at this price now, like it's the new normal,
And
you
and,
know?
and right, and like, because yeah, that's the other thing too is if these tariffs get shut down at some point, what happens? Are these? I don't. The dollar amount is these companies aren't gonna be aren't are gonna see that new dollar amount and be like, nah, yeah, we're not gonna go back down.
Right.
So,
Yeah, capitalism sucks, and it sucks too because now Canada is putting tariffs back on us in retaliation. So it's like, I mean, we're in economic war. This is an economic war
right.
right
I mean, it's yeah, exactly. It's just a senseless trade war because you know
now.
because grown-ups just can't have a civil conversation is really what it boils down to is everybody's ego is too big for the room that they're in,
Yeah.
so it just becomes a dick measuring contest.
Well, it's not even that. They, not to get too political, but they're taking away any opposing media from even entering the White House. It's a whole.
Right.
We're slowly entering a constitutional crisis. Scary stuff. I
Hey man, and it's so funny the crowd that's like, "Oh, I don't want politics in my comics." Well, guess what? Politics are directly now affecting your comic books.
yeah. Oh,
Not even the material that is in them. It is directly affecting how you purchase, how much it costs you to consume comic media. Like that's just what it is. Like, and so all this, the whole crowd of, well, I don't, politics and social issues in my comics. They need to be separate. It's like, dude, like we've talked about this like countless times, I think. They're political by design, comic books
yeah.
are.
Yep.
They address social issues like that's just how they're baked into the recipe of comic book,
Right.
comic books. So, on a brighter note, there was a couple other bits of news that I wanted to talk about.
Hmm.
Um, if anybody is a fan of incentive variants, now's the time to get them
Yeah.
because they are really cheap, especially image books right now. Like this article from Bleeding Cool says that Diamond blowing out 1 in 100 image comic variants for $10 a pop. I assume this is because of them going out of business, of them, filing for bankruptcy, and all of the publishers leaving them. And this is probably the stock that they've got left over now that Image has left and gone to Lunar.
Right.
So like, um, and these books are like they're lower than eBay prices. Like you've got like you've got Transformers, the Sky, this is all Skybound stuff.
Right.
You've got Transformers 1 through 3 and 5 through 15, G.I. Joe 2 and 3, Duke 1 through 5, Cobra Commander 1 through 5, Destro 1 through 5, Scarlet 1 through 5, Void Rivals 4 through 16. There's also some Ghost Machine books, Geiger 1 through 5, Hyde Street 1, Redcoat 1 through 5, Rook Exodus 1 through 5, Rockefellers and Halo and Hornsby, as well as Department of Truth 25, Deviant, Pharaoh, Lucky Devils, Moon Man, Moon is Following Us, Power Fantasy, like all of the big books that have been coming out from Image over the last couple years or over the last, year or so, all of these incentive variants are just hitting, record lows. So if anybody's a fan of some of the artists or just like incentive variants, now's the time to contact your shop because this article seems to indicate that you can order these directly from your shop now. Like
Oh,
that Diamond has allowed the option for shops to specifically order those books for that price. But also, that being said, I can almost guarantee that if you order that book, your shop is going to have it at a marked up price. So be prepared for that in the event that it does happen because there are incentives. There's no way you're going to get that book for $7.50
yeah. I mean, they
or
got to make it
$10.
somehow. They got to
Like
make it.
that is what the price that the shop is paying for the
Right.
book. That is not the price that you will be paying for that book. So keep that
Yeah.
in mind if you do decide to purchase those variants, if your shop will order them. So that's a little bit brighter because if you like rare comics, now's the time to get your hands on them because you don't know how long that they're going to be that low for,
Right.
and some of these things might end up seeing adaptations at some point in the next several years. And if they do, you're going to find that those incentive variants are going to climb because they're just rare and they're really going to be hard to get.
Right.
Um, I I guess we can kind of just skip this one because it is has to do with Superman from this last week.
Oh, okay. Yeah. We'll probably just
So,
talk
I
about
mean, it's kind of a big thing. It had an article, so I was gonna talk about it, but we can wait till we get into Superman.
it.
Yeah, let's jump into some books, man. What do you want to talk about first?
I guess we could just go into Superman. Let's just do that and get that news out of the way.
Hell yeah, Superman's been sick, dude.
Dude,
I
it's been awesome. It's been awesome.
I love
I
Superman.
I also just want to talk about, have you noticed like the jump in quality that Joshua Williamson has had? It
Like
feels
writing quality?
it feels like within the past few years, like because I've read a lot of mediocre stuff from him. I feel like a lot of
Yes.
like the death metal stuff, besides speed metal, which was awesome. Speed metal was
You know,
dope.
that was the
But I
best
mean,
book.
like even before that, I remember just being like, "Oh, this is just okay. This is just okay." And
Right,
now,
like and I feel that way about his like I like his Flash. I do. There are parts of it I don't really like. But for the most part, I like it. Um
but I feel like now he's like hit like a Like he's found his pocket of what,
Like, yeah, he's found his stride for sure, I think.
yeah.
Um, it's it's funny because I'm glad that it's I wish it would have been Flash, and then it would have been like this really tight, like the way how tightly knitted the story has been. Because like even in the issues that haven't been as good in this run, they're still like good. Like they're still pretty good.
Oh, Spur,
Um,
you mean?
huh?
Spurriers?
No,
Or,
I mean for
oh,
Superman, like
gotcha.
for Williamson's run, like even though like I said, even the arcs or the issues that haven't been like as great as some of the best ones, I still think they're good. Like the worst Superman issues in this run are better than some of the best Flash issues in his Flash run.
Yeah.
So,
I'd say the only downsides of this run are the absolute power tie-ins. That's it. Like
which
everything
even then,
else has
I
been
love those,
fire.
bro. Like I love those because
Those were great.
it's just Satana and Campbell came back and it
Yeah.
was fire, dude. Well, like
Yeah.
I also here's the thing. I think that okay, the Superman, the Batman, those two tie-ins for Absolute Power, I think are really good. Wonder
Yeah.
Woman, yeah, it is what it is. But I Superman, I think, is really interesting in that because it allow you he's surrounded by magic for 2 issues straight, and he has to learn to like get over it, basically.
Yeah. You find out that it's not really a weakness. It's more of like a mental block because he doesn't like the unpredictability and the sacrifice and control that
Right,
magic has. So it kind of throws him for a
right.
loop. And even a depowered Superman, he was depowered in that absolute power tie, and he took down a magic user that was using magic on him.
Yeah, exactly.
So
So
it
it was really I think that was really cool for Clark to or him for him to have to go through that. And then also the added benefit of having Zatanna in the book, which
right.
then led to the Zatanna Campbell series, which you
But
know what I mean?
even Superman used magic in that.
Yes,
So
yes.
that was it was really
So it
cool.
was really
It like
yes,
kind
I
of
agree.
just takes the whole thing of Superman's weak to magic. It's like, no, he was vulnerable to it because of a mental issue he had with magic, and he can't wrap his
Right,
mind around it. And now
right.
it's
And
past that.
it's right. And like I guess having read that now, it makes sense given that Clark is kind of more of like a like truth, facts, evidence, like science. Like he's so like that he has to see it to believe it kind of thing.
Right.
You know what I mean? And but like for somebody like him who can do basically do anything, and for him to have to like come up against this idea that like the unknown for him is like okay, like it's for him to overcome the unknown, I guess,
Right.
for him. Whereas like for this the regular everyday person, the shit that he does is unknown. Like it's unimaginable to somebody like us. So like for him to find magic in the same way that we see him and his abilities,
Right.
I think that's what I was looking for, man. Like it was cool. I liked it.
Yeah, dude. And what's really good about this is just, I mean, Dan Mora's art, dude. It's just, oh my God. I mean, I feel like we got to highlight it every time, but oh my God.
Dude, yeah, it was so good.
His art in this is incredible. I love, as much as I love Bond villain, I feel like she doesn't really capture like the shadowy kind of depth, 3D depth that Sanchez is doing.
Yeah, dude, Alejandro Sanchez is just on another level, bro. Like
Yeah, like he's giving Mora's like art like a very 3D look with his shading.
it just everything looks so like cinematic.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah.
Like,
And I
okay,
mean,
how to
go for
kind
it.
of compare it a little bit, like there are some anime that are like really, really well animated. You know what I mean? Like, and you look at like a screen, like Demon Slayer, for example. Like, despite how some people feel about the actual quality of the story and like the content in the series, you cannot deny the animation in that series is insane.
Right,
Like some of the fights in that series are fucking bonkers, dude. Like it's crazy.
right.
So like when I look at panels like this, and
Yeah.
it's just like this like perfectly angled like pissed off doomsday face, like that's kind of like the comparison I make is like Dan Mora is some of the best animation studios out there, but he's just himself, man. It's just him.
I mean, just like
And
look at the
Alejandro
lighting here
Sanchez
with
coming in with
like the lighting here with Jimmy and all this. Like it
yeah.
gives such like a depth that I feel like, we can only see with Sanchez working with Mora, like this
Yeah.
depth is crazy. Like he really brings out
Yeah.
the details of Mora.
Dude, and it's like every time I see him do something that I find like that kind of like makes me pause for a second and just stop and stare at it.
Yeah, it's it's
It's
it,
crazy to see how far he's come as an artist because like I look back and see like the first few issues of Klaus, or I look back and see like when he did Hex, like his early Boom stuff
yeah,
compared to now is crazy, dude. It's absolutely crazy.
yeah. And I mean, there's a couple notes here. I think I was right on my prediction with Zod here.
Yeah, yeah, no, that was yeah, you were spot on with that, definitely.
Yeah. I think Lois has Superman's powers and Superman has Zod's powers, and that's the reason for his anger, and he can't control it. Um,
Right.
basically, we see Zod basically kind of confirm that, basically say like, "Don't tell anybody about this." We also see Lois dealing with Time Trapper Doomsday now, and she kind of messes that up just in defiance. Jimmy's out. Jimmy's out now. Silver Banshee's pissed. She's going after Superman. There's
Yeah,
so much going on here, and
Lex is
even that,
kind
then
of
we also
like
got Lex. We also got Lex, who,
I was just gonna say who's kind of remembering at this point, I think, right?
yeah, he's remembering enough because if you remember that last issue, with that Lex Luthor special, he remembered the song. Superman
Yeah.
realized, oh yeah,
Yeah, and he played it. That's right. He played it, and then Superman heard it.
yeah. So now he's
That was a
fixing.
great issue. I really
That was an
liked that too.
incredible issue. That was really good.
I'm a sucker for some of those like throwback kind of like
I
when you
thought
talk
it was
about
perfect. The way that like you see Lex being, in his family dynamic being kicked out, him just wanting to give his music to the stars, and then the only person is Superman that hears it as a baby, and it puts Superman to sleep, and it's like
yeah,
it's so cool.
yeah.
It's so cool how
It reminded me of that action annual
yeah,
was like Clark and Mongol
yeah,
growing up kind of side by side, like kind of like the just like the duality of it.
yeah.
I
And you
love that shit, dude. I love that shit.
so do I. So do I. Where you see in this broken home from Lex, and then you're seeing this kind of not a broken home, but you're seeing these parents trying to take care of this kid that's so new
Yeah,
and different that can't stop crying and can't stop being emotional.
right. I don't know. For me, there's just something to be said about being able to take two characters that are on the opposite ends of like the morality spectrum
Yeah,
and draw like similarities or like, or like to show their lives like run like parallel with each other
right,
and how like if there were just a few changes for the bad guy, he could have been swayed. And sometimes it's the same way for the good guy. Like had there been a few more bad things happen to them, they could have easily fallen to the darkness. You know what I mean?
right,
I I I love that stuff in comics. I mean, just in media in general. I like that kind of stuff because it
right,
just shows you that's like not to always like you know show humanity in the villain or kind of like give like humanize them in a way because sometimes I just like bad guys. I just like villains that are villains. Like straight up like I like sometimes I like evil characters.
right,
Um but so there's like I said there's something to be said about being able to do that with two characters that have always like opposed each other but also could be so similar given
right.
different circumstances.
And we're finally seeing the all-in issue kind of branch out now. We're
That's
seeing
what I was just gonna say, dude. Okay, that's what I was saving for this is when Time Trapper is like and he's at the end of time. It's the absolute Legion of Superheroes or
it's yeah,
Omega. You know
yeah,
what I mean?
yeah. It's Darkseid's Legion.
So it's Saturn Girl, Lightning Lad, and whoever else that I can't remember his name.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, this is pretty cool because not only did this happen here, but we also are seeing.
Oh, Colossal Boy.
From what I heard, we're also seeing another with Eclipso and Flash. Eclipso's in there, and he talks about what happened with Darkseid, I guess, in that.
Yes, I just
Yeah,
kind of over Flash, dude. Like I
Yeah,
just
I understand it, man. I get you.
killing me, man. The art is cool. I think it could be good. I'm also I don't know. I'm kind of Eclipso's whatever, dude. Like he's just like he was in the last Flash run. He was in, Justin World's Finest. He's in All In, and he's in Flash again. I don't know. If he does something cool, maybe I'll change my mind. You know what I mean? But I don't know. We'll see. I don't know. I'm not like Amanda Waller,
Yeah.
Eclipso, but like I'm also just like he was showing up a lot, man. And I don't know. He's just not a character I ever really was like put much weight into, I guess.
Yeah. But I
So,
mean, we're seeing him kind of explain what happened to him from that all in
mhm.
issue, I guess, in that. And then the Legion of Superheroes in this, and then whatever Aquaman's doing, right? Like Aquaman
Yes.
somehow interfering with the Omega energy,
Yeah.
and and then like because I didn't read Flash, but from what I read, it was very Dark Side like, where Eclipso was like, I found a host, and then I corrupted him, and then
Yeah.
and then that's how I came back, basically. Dark Side killed me, and then, I've been destroyed before, but
Yeah. Yeah.
I
It's
just
just your
corrupted
class.
somebody, and he looked like Odin. He looked like Odin who we corrupted or something. Like he looked like a
Well, I think it's supposed to be if it's well, I think it's Warlord is
yeah,
who it is. But
yeah.
yeah.
So
But
that's why
like
like Eclipso's buff now.
yeah, I mean, I guess when you're like the fundamental force of darkness, it's like whatever, man. Like be buff, who cares? Like
Yeah. You
okay, I
know,
will say the Mike Del Mundo covers are sick though. Like they're really great.
oh, the one with the dog? Or
Okay, we're if we have to talk about Flash since we're already on it, this dog, I don't give a shit, dude. Like it's like I don't care. Like I just don't care. I don't know what to say. It's I kind of like the idea of them having a family dog, but I don't know, man. It's just I don't know.
yeah.
I'm just not buying into it. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah.
It's
I
just
mean,
one of
that,
those things
that
that
run
makes
lost me a while ago. The only thing that interested me was finding out what Eclipso was going to say about the All In
I
issue.
just would okay, like this is gonna sound like straight up blasphemy coming out of my mouth right now. But if Ryan North came over to DC because he already is, right? He's doing the Super Crypto book.
Yeah, that's going to be fire too. I already know that's going to be great.
If my man decides to do a Flash book, I will let Barry. I'll be okay with Barry taking the lead on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or hell, give him a Barry miniseries, dude. Like that's fine with me. I think he could write such an incredible Barry Allen story. Like the way that he handles like the Fantastic Four and the family element with that, and how he balances like redoing the science stuff and
Yeah.
being like so like sometimes getting so consumed with it, but also like the way that he's experimenting with their powers. Like imagine the kind of things he could do with Flash and the power the kit with that Flash has and the knowledge that Barry has like this like the level because he's smart and I feel like that's the thing nobody ever does that shit, man. Like
Right.
nobody ever does it.
Right.
It's just like okay, well, I'm sad.
Right. And I got to run fast. So,
Yeah, I'm sad. The only thing that'll make me not sad is running, but I'm too sad to run. It's like just shut the hell up and run, dude.
yeah.
Like Wally doesn't really have that problem.
Right.
Sorry, like you should have stayed dead in the 80s, but like if you're gonna be alive, at least be written in a way that I don't hate.
Right. At
So
this point, I'm more interested in what Barry's doing. He's not even a Flash anymore. So, what does that tell you?
yeah, exactly. I mean, whatever, man. Like Barry's more interesting than he's ever been.
Yeah. Exactly. Exactly. I mean, it sucks. I
Well,
had to
Barry,
get off that,
I'm just
but
waiting, dude. In the comments are gonna be somebody's gonna come across this one day, and they're gonna see all, and then they're gonna follow my trail of shit talk of Barry Allen, and they're gonna come for me, bro. Like
yeah.
somebody, it's
I
fine.
know. I said it this whole time. Barry should stay dead, but now I'm like, hey, Wally should have stayed wherever now.
Don't say that to me.
I would rather that than have two Wallies running around.
Dude,
One,
listen,
like
listen, it's about to get a whole lot worse, dude. Like it's
I mean,
about to
one of
get a
them's
whole
like,
lot worse.
from
We're
what I
about to have like
saw,
50 of them.
oh God. from what I saw, one Wally is super angry, and another Wally's just very passive and very happy. And I'm like, what? Why? The one with Eclipso is apparently in bliss.
Yeah, he's big chilling right now, dude. But so the way it's because the way I understand it is the one that is with everybody, like with the family and with the heroes on the Watchtower. That's the clone.
Of course.
So the real Barry is like, oh, or the real Wally's like, oh wow, like look what we can do. Like,
Right, but it just feels like I saw that in the first arc, right? Where he was just so,
yeah,
oh
I
my
mean,
God,
yes,
I'm coddled in this feeling of bliss, and here I am coddled inside of it, and I can't do it. I'm like, we're still here?
hey man, it's I'm not saying it's good, and you know what I mean. Like
Yeah.
I'm just reading it because I love the Flash.
I'm just saying, I read it online and I just kind of jumped in just to see this Eclipso thing. And it's me jumping in after dropping the first arc. And for me to just be like,
It's still not good, dude. Like
yeah, I
you
don't
know,
like
like,
what they're doing with
I'm
Wally.
not really, and I'm not saying that to be like overly critical of the book. I just don't really like it. Like, there's not a lot that I like about it. We're so close to Absolute Flash. We're so close, man. I need it. 2 more weeks.
Yeah.
2 more weeks.
That's going to be the Ultimate Spider-Man for Flash, basically. So it's going to be great. Speaking of that, I want to talk about it. Dude,
All
this
right.
was it. We're waiting for this moment to happen. And it happened. Like, it is.
Okay. I didn't think it was gonna happen this way though, or
I
this
didn't
soon.
either. That was such a shock. And I thought it was such a cool way that
Is it
Hickman,
a fake out though?
it has to be. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know because I do feel like it is pretty much earned for Harry to die at this point. I think it is earned enough to that where we feel the weight of it. And not even that, I feel like just the way Craven did it was so cool that for it to be wasted on a fake out would suck. Because I thought
Yeah.
that was
No,
so cool.
I agree with you, but I don't know, man. Like something just tells me that it's not like
Like I said, with Hickman,
um,
we never know. It could be eight things that could possibly be it, and it probably won't even be one of those eight things.
right. And then it's number 9.
Yeah. It's one we
I
didn't
don't
even
know.
think of.
Like
It's
I feel like at this like it's so stupid because part of me feels like pretentious when I say it, but like I feel like at this point I've read so much Hickman that I just have like come to expect being surprised no matter
exactly.
what.
Yeah.
So like I don't know. And I think that's man, like not to like kind of like steer back into a little bit of DC, but like before we dive into this issue for real, like there's something to be said about how good comic books, especially from the big two, are right now with the Ultimate and Absolute universes.
Yeah.
Like to have like all of these all of them basically be breakout hits to some level.
Right.
Like Spider-Man, undeniable. X-Men. You cannot deny that it's successful. It is. It's got one of the most popular creators on writing and art right now
Right.
in comics.
Oh my God. Yeah.
So you can't beat it. You've
No.
got Black Panther, which is probably the least talked about of the four Ultimate books, but is really doing a lot of heavy lifting in terms of the supernatural and the mystical side of the universe, where the other books are not.
Right. And it's so
And then,
consistent. That book
yes,
is consistent. Like
yes,
it has just been
it's just
quality.
smoke all the way through, dude. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's great. And then you have Ultimates, which is tackling the team centric stuff, the overall bigger universe building that was set up in Invasion and Universe and 1 Year In. It just
Yeah.
keeps pushing that forward, along with kind of weaving in some of the elements from the other series in like really well.
Yeah, I have a buddy that I got him into the old I got him started, let him borrow my Ultimate like Invasion books and
Yeah,
got him started on the Ultimate stuff. He hasn't even picked up Ultimate Spider-Man yet because he's loving the Ultimates so much. Like he loves the Ultimates. He's like, dude, this is a
it's
blast.
incredible, dude. It's great.
He's like, dude, this is a blast. I'm loving this world. I'm loving. the hierarchy. I'm loving
Yeah.
everything about this. I'm invested in Doom. I'm invested in everybody. And I'm like, yeah, but wait till you get the Ultimate Spider-Man, dude. I'm telling them that, dude. Like,
Yeah. No,
you
seriously.
think this is peak, bro? Like,
Yeah.
you get
Just
to the
wait.
Spider-Man. It is insane.
Um, Also I think like steering into the absolute universe side of things for a second, um, to see their approach to it and how, okay, sorry, I forgot Ultimate Wolverine, which is off to a fairly good start, you know. Like, I don't know. I need a couple more issues. It's kind of it's I think it might just be all X-Men centric stuff for me. Is I need a little bit more to get into it before
I need
before
more
we get into
Logan.
it or drop it.
I just can't stand just having a book about a feral mute.
And I'm hoping that's not gonna be the case for long, and I'm hoping that was just the sales pitch to get the
Yeah,
books like going, was like, look, it's the Winter Soldier and it's Wolverine. Blah. But then, after the first arc of all that shit, we're gonna get into some more like some deeper storytelling.
right.
Because I haven't read that Texas Blood, which is by Chris Condon, but I have been reading his Green Arrow, and I think that's actually really good.
Okay.
It's really, really good, actually.
Oh wow.
Um,
My-
I know, I know, like at first I was kind of like, well, we just got the family back together and we're kind of striking off on our own again. Kind of sucks, but I think that's really good. But I don't know. Both universes are nailing it. The Absolute doing like 6 books, like kind of just two waves of three within like 6 months of each other. Different strategy than the Ultimate Universe, but I think if they do it right, they could build to something really great, and then maybe not necessarily need a team book, but they could just do a big event, and you could let these characters exist on their own in kind of like a Silver Age fashion
right,
before they really started crossing over into each other.
right. And
Um,
I feel like it's also like a thing of I'm loving the fact that they're not like Marvel and DC were very territorial, where it's like, hey, you're doing this for Marvel, and I don't want you doing this. Dennis Camp is gonna kill that
he's
Martian
gonna
Manhunter.
dude, yes, bro. People there are already early reviews saying it's a hit.
Yeah, I
Like
mean,
it's crazy. Flash too. I mean, and here's the thing is like it's so funny because I feel like I have seen some comments or have heard some people say like, well, I'm just not really like excited, like whatever, I'm just not really sure about this. And it's like they're putting like really established creators on these books.
yeah, man.
Like it's not just like they're putting like some new age talent, like somebody that's like that's kind of like fresh. They're finding people that one know continuity, two have been in the game for a long time and are strong at certain elements in storytelling, like world building or character building. Like a
Yeah,
lot of those things are going to be very important because
yeah,
if you can't jumpstart a new universe with like middling reviews. You know what I mean? Like it'll never work. Like
right.
it's either a hit or it's not. Like and maybe that's just like that's just my personal opinion. But I feel like if you really want these things to like thrive, you really have to nail it from the jump.
Yeah,
And
yeah,
Spider-Man, like despite how good Ultimate Invasion and Universe were, like it laid the groundwork for all this. But I don't think people were really like on the lookout for the Ultimate Universe until Spider-Man.
right.
Like it wasn't until like those first few issues when everybody's like, "Oh, okay, shit, like this is actually going to be something."
It's almost like I feel like Amazing Spider-Man is strictly for editorial, and Ultimate Spider-Man's for the Spider-Man fans. Like it feels like, and I feel like that's the reason why it's always outselling Amazing Spider-Man at this point now, because we're finally getting everything we've been asking for decades now. We got it here. We got it.
Right.
And
Right.
it's way more interesting than we could have ever thought because it's Hickman doing his Hickman
Yes.
read. And it's so good. Everybody feels like an in-depth character. Everybody's having an arc.
Yeah.
Everybody and the worst part and the worst but best part about it is nobody feels safe. Nobody feels safe
Right.
at all. And it's like
I love it though.
it's Hickman, dude. And he knows how to leave a breadcrumb to have you follow
Is
it,
that a
make
Metroid
it
on your
build
shirt?
up.
Is that a Metroid on? Oh, it's
No,
Van.
it's Vans,
I
yeah.
was like, damn. I was like, that's a cool ass shirt.
That would be sick though. I would love to
I
have a
thought it
Met.
was a Metroid because I couldn't see the bottom. Sorry,
Yeah.
I've been
It's on a
looking at it for like
pocket. It's like a crew
I've been
neck
looking at it for
pocket.
like 5 minutes. I was like, what is that? And I couldn't read the words. But when Vans off. Okay, yeah.
Yeah, it's like a
Sorry.
pocket right here. So
I
it's
was
like,
like, damn, that's tight. I was like, where'd you
yeah.
get that? Like, where'd you get that Metroid shirt?
That'd be sick
Oh,
though. I want to look for one now.
damn.
But how do you feel about Richard and Felicia here? I feel like this is such a silly callback to
I mean,
Bendis.
it is,
Bendis.
but it's also like I don't know. I like it because you still get to have that like Spider-Man, Black Cat kind of like dynamic, maybe romance
Yeah,
in the near future, but you don't have to upend the Peter and MJ marriage to do it
right. Right.
because the Black Cat was her dad. The
Exactly.
original Black Cat was her dad.
But now she's his replacement in the Secret Six. So now
But is she though?
that's what it says. If you look at the,
I mean, yes, like I guess on paper she is, but
yeah,
like, is she though? You know what I mean? Like, we'll see
I
what
don't
happens.
think she's going to end up being that. I think she's going to be their
Right.
eyes in the Secret Six, or at least,
Yes. Do
you
you,
know,
okay, that being said, do you think the dad is going to maybe change face?
maybe. But I mean, does it matter? I think he's like crippled forever after that last battle
I mean,
happened.
okay, and even if he is, the resources that he has available to him could be valuable to Peter.
Right. But will he pick his daughter over that? That's the thing. It's gonna have to. We're gonna have to see about that.
What father wouldn't, man?
Right. Right. So I feel
I'm
like,
trying to play to the better natures of the beast, but we'll see what
yeah,
happens.
um, I'm loving this, and it keep the more you keep seeing Richard in this suit, the more you kind of see that he's spending time with his dad that he never had before, it feels like, with this AI. And,
Yeah.
I think that's going to come to a head where, the father power and the father dynamics are going to be
Yep.
questioned.
I mean we're saying it for the last couple issues that we've talked about with that. Um yeah, it's good. It's definitely there's going to be some tension there when now that Peter is on his way back or is trying to get back, you know.
Because there's a couple points in here where like he's about to like reveal something, and then like the AI is like
Yeah,
Richard.
like nah, like maybe we don't. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
So you're kind of seeing like, and not even that, Richard's like obeying. He's not questioning it. It's like he's literally getting advice from his father and not questioning it. Like, it's like,
It's and it's not to like draw another similarity, but like we were just getting a little bit of that with Norman and Harry.
yes.
You know what I mean? Like so
Yeah. It's almost like, dude, I would have never thought that this whole AI pick would have such crazy repercussions. That,
yeah, and especially like it just like not like with like no hesitation and it basically being Venom. You know what I mean?
yeah. Yeah.
Like I really, really, really cool, man.
And what's crazy is we saw it first issue.
Yeah, just a straight
Saw
up
the
white
black
suit.
suit first issue. It was, at the end. It was like all of this has been in our faces,
Yeah.
for Hickman to embellish on later, and you're like, oh,
Well,
oh,
right. And like and like here's the other thing I think about too is like if you look at Venom in the 616, you know, it's just kind of like formless.
yeah,
And it doesn't like it takes on the attributes of Peter's suit once it bonds to him. But like it's this is kind of an interesting twist on it because it's almost like you have this what if of like what if the suit bonded to Peter? What if the symbiote bonded to Peter Parker, not Spider-Man?
right,
Because by the time that he's already like put on the Picotech, he at this point he hasn't designed what the suit is going to look like. You know what I mean? Like it's the end of the first issue is just straight up pure black
yep,
because it's like programmable matter essentially, right?
right. And it's not even programmable matter. It's like the material can change into whatever it
Into,
wants.
yeah, into
It can
anything.
be,
Right. Right.
if it wanted to turn into tar, it could. If it wanted to turn into
I mean, it literally turned
block,
into
it
Peter
could.
Parker. Like, you know what I mean?
Right.
So
Right.
like it's such an advanced form of programmable matter. We'll just, or nanotech. They keep picotech, we don't even know what it is because hell, the scientist in the book doesn't even know what the hell it is.
Right.
Otto doesn't even know what it is. So how am I
Right.
supposed to know what it is?
And
But it's just cool to see how it did like it's this switch up where now that it's kind of acting as a symbiote for Richard, it's taken on the attributes of the original Spider-Man suit now
right.
with the spider and the webbing on the face. It is that Venom twist. I really cool. It's cool, man. I
It
like it.
is. It is. It's great. And instead of the Venom symbiote, it's Peter's AI in it. So it's like
Yeah.
what a neat idea, and what a neat idea to even combine the whole clone thing with it. It's like you're
Hmm.
killing two birds with one stone here. It's
Yeah. I mean, there's so many references, dude. Oh, damn. Are the dots going to connect at some point? And is this AI Peter going to take on the name of Ben Riley?
wouldn't surprise me. I mean because Ben already took that name.
Right. It's already in use. Like, do you think maybe at some point they're, I don't know. And this is obviously
It
just
wouldn't surprise me if
speculation.
somebody's going after Uncle Ben for what he's writing, and then basically that AI basically comes out and says, "I'm
I'm
Ben."
Ben Riley. Yeah. Oh, dude, I'm
So
I'm I'm P I'm Peter Parker's brother. I'm his clone.
yeah,
Can
yeah, it could
you
be I'm his
imagine?
twin brother. I'm his,
Yeah.
it could be anything. But I mean, we get, what's really cool is they're still sticking with the whole month thing. It's just that I guess last issue was at the end of the month, and only a few days went by, so it's the beginning of the
Yeah.
month. And
Yeah. That was a cool. I like that move. That was clean
because
to
I
have
was
it
like, how are they going to make
because
this a
here's the
whole
thing.
month
The
after
only
and continue from
right.
there?
Right, and the only way that this works is because you have the meet at the end of last issue, but you also have to have the events of Harry and Peter being kidnapped running concurrently with it. Like, so
Right.
they have to be running
And
side
they
by
had been
side.
captured already for 2 or 3 weeks already at that point.
It was
So,
months. I think it's months
oh,
by
it was
this
a
point
few months. Yeah.
because they were kidnapped in December
Yeah, that's
because he
right.
missed Christmas. Remember that was when they got the initial reveal with the AI, like
Yeah, that's
being
right.
him.
Yep.
So
And
crazy.
so we also I'll jump back into that after we talk about this, but some pip remind me that I have to say something. But basically we see that Peter and Harry are still playing Craven's game. Craven ends up
I
shooting
love the
Raptor.
fact that he's like they've like tamed dinosaurs.
Dude, yeah, dude, it has a saddle.
That's sick, dude.
Dude, so that this raptor they spent time with,
Yeah, well, I guarantee you they probably tried to jump him, and Peter just beat the hell out of him
yeah, yeah.
because he's superhuman. Like, of course he could.
And this is really cool because we see like basically the first inklings of Peter's spider sense in this book,
Yes,
in this issue.
yes,
He tells Harry like go off into the jungle. I'm gonna distract Craven while Craven's shooting like a machine gun.
yeah.
He's dodging them all. So and Peter even says it's like I know where he's gonna shoot for some reason. I could just tell where he's gonna shoot and when
Well,
he's gonna
right, because didn't he say that like early on in the run that the Picotech was kind of like making him feel like weird?
yeah,
Felt like he was throwing his senses off, and that's why he went back to the like
the
traditional
clock.
cloth. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's gonna be interesting where Richard's not gonna have a spider sense.
Well, right,
So it's gonna be a thing of instinct versus tech at that point. What's
right, and
superior?
right.
So it pretty interesting. We see Mole Man kind of show up and he
Okay. Before we go any further, what is the likelihood we get a Spider-Man versus Spider-Man fight? Like in the sense that you have Peter now that he's returned, but the suit refuses to give up Richard and like holds him hostage in the suit.
See, I don't think it'll get to that point. I think it'll get to a point where Richard doesn't want to let it go. I think that's where it's going to be the problem. I
Well,
think it's
right.
going to be
Okay.
Richard.
And I mean that okay, you could even go that route and you could even have it be so the AI misinterprets that and says, "Okay, fine. Like then we're stuck together. And
Right.
I won't let you go. You're we're bonded now."
Right. Peter rejected me for this cloth suit. I'm not
Another
about to get
vendor,
rejected again.
right. And so I'm gonna trap you in me. Yeah. Like and you've already said you don't want to give me up, so all the more reason to stay together, you know?
Right.
Like
Right.
it
So-
could get really twisted really fast and he's already shown he's not afraid to do it. So,
And we see in this issue also that the Sinister Six is very splintered. There's
yes.
problems in the team. There's
Right.
problems. And it gets
'Cause you've got
furthermore because it seems like Craven's just a wild card that gives no shits about the rest of the people on the team. He's just
Mhm.
like, I'm here to have fun. I'm going to use your area. I'm going to kill your moloids. I'm going to, like
Poor
what?
Malloy, dude.
That was sad.
They, they
That
didn't do
was
nothing, man.
that was brutal, and then,
That's shitty, dude.
like it's it's so insane. And we see like Mole Man try to almost help them and then not, but then you see once the Maloids are killed, he's gonna be like,
Yeah,
fuck.
he's like maybe like maybe I should have.
And it's not even that, even Mysterio shows up and is very smoke and mirrors as always, but like
Okay, who do you think it is?
it could be Gwen. It
That's
could
my
be Gwen.
my guess.
Because I feel like Hickman wouldn't keep Gwen in the dark for as long as he has been if she's not doing something.
Right.
She's got to have been doing something this whole time.
And I think with Harry saying like in the issue,
Yeah, that was
I
really
have this extra security so my family is safe. I think that's a
we have
red
a
herring.
danger protocol.
I think that's a red herring. I do, you know what I mean? Like, what's better security than being one of the Sinister Six?
See, this is where my brain goes crazy because it's Hickman. What if what if Gwen's in danger and Mysterio came to protect Harry because of it? Because remember, he says when one of us is in danger, the other one is fully secure.
Right.
What if Gwen is the one that's in danger and Mysterio made sure is the insurance policy that makes sure Harry is completely fine?
If that's the case, is this Harry an illusion,
I don't think it's an illusion.
or is he not really dead?
I don't think he's dead. I think that there was some illusionary shit that
Okay,
happened.
we're getting ahead of ourselves
Right.
because
Let's go back. Yeah, let's go
now
back. So, anyways,
we're like basically at the fight at this point, right?
yeah, yeah.
Okay, so
And,
yeah,
they,
so
and
like
what's really cool is they use the collar, the explosive collar.
yes,
They put it up on a tree. They make sure that Craven goes near it. Harry hits it with a rock, and
and they
boom,
bait him into
blows
it,
on.
right?
And
And then
even
it's like
Craven's,
it's like the mix up between Peter and Craven, and like Peter just beats his ass, dude.
but
Just
here's why I say Harry needs to be dead. This is Peter's Uncle Ben moment.
yeah.
He
I
could have
okay. Thank
acted.
you, thank you, thank you.
He
I
could
was
have
just to say that.
acted. He could have acted, and he didn't. He
Right,
didn't.
right, exactly. And okay, we talked about this really early on. I remember this conversation because I it wa- it was the first time they were faced with that decision with Black Cat. And I'm pretty sure Harry even said to him, like, the next time that this happens, I won't hesitate to save you. I won't hesitate to save you. But this is twice now that he's hesitated, Harry has died or is dead as a result. And I'm pretty sure Peter's response to that was he was like, I won't hesitate, or like, what will you do? And Peter didn't really have an answer for him.
He didn't.
And he was this close to killing him. You know what I mean? Like he was right there, but then he had that moment of doubt where he's like, I'm not Craven.
I'm not a killer. I
I'm
can't
not
be a
a killer,
killer.
right?
But this inaction is what killed Harry. And it's
Right.
very just like the Uncle Ben thing, where it's like, hey, I didn't stop that guy who ended up killing Uncle Ben. So it's like this is completely like his inaction, his Uncle Ben moment. This is him realizing the responsibility.
Right.
Like,
I also really like how he was like he's like my spider sense.
yeah,
He's like I didn't feel it. He's like I didn't feel any danger. He's like I wasn't aiming for you. I was like,
no,
oh
you were just in the way. You were just in the
damn,
way.
yeah.
And it's like, dude, and then to see Harry just laying there with, with his head, because as much as I do think that it should be earned,
Yeah.
this is Peter's Uncle Ben moment. It's all
I was like
up to
just pulling
this.
up. I was just looking at the next page with Mysterio right now.
Exactly. And Mysterio shows up right after. So that's like the thing of like, it's like I feel like it'd be poetic for Harry to be dead, but it's
But
also
he,
leave
okay,
Harry Hickman left to,
here's the one bit of evidence that I still hold on to that I think it is Gwen. It's when they're first introduced in the Kingpin's penthouse, and Mysterio walks in, and somebody comments on their height,
yeah,
and you see the like,
yep,
and like the next panel, like they make themselves taller.
right.
That's the one bit of evidence that I'm holding on to that I think supports the Gwen thing. Obviously, it could be anything, but I don't know, man. There's just
Because I feel like it would make sense for Gwen to go on this arc afterwards and become the Goblin, and then go after Peter for his inactions and for him being
I don't
responsible,
know.
and
Okay,
with
and like the
Norman
more
in
I
her head.
yeah,
That
but
would
here's
be
the thing.
poetic to 616.
And I think about the cover for 17, and you see the reflection of Norman in the helmet.
Yeah. Yeah.
But and then I also think about this extra security thing and how long has that been implemented for the Osborns considering their status in the world? And, if it's been a thing for a long time, then is Norman not really dead? Is he somehow alive? But the blast was so sudden. I can't imagine that he did survive it.
Yeah, I
But
don't
I
think he.
also at this point it's we were just saying it earlier, there's always eight different, potential options that this could go, but then it's
Right.
always the ninth one that we didn't think about.
With Hickman, we never know. For all we know, it could be the curveball that Norman is Mysterio. What the? It could be something
Ooh.
like that. Like it could be, holy
I don't
shit.
know. Yeah, I don't. Yeah,
It could be any. With Hickman, you never know. And that's like the whole, that is the fun of a Hickman book, is just you're in the dark, but it's so much fun. Like
yeah,
it's so much fun to see where you're going to go next. Like,
yeah,
I think it's important too, because if you remember what Mysterio tells her, or what Mysterio tells Peter, says, "But I do think you should run home now, Peter Parker. You couldn't save your friend. Perhaps you could still save them."
yeah,
Do I think Gwen would tell him that after Gwen and MJ had that conversation in the Christmas issue? Sure, I could buy that. You
yeah,
know, I could buy that she's extending an olive branch for him to save his family.
yeah.
But Peter's in this state right now of, I lost Harry. They know my family. They know where we live. They know everything. What are we going to do?
Right.
And Peter just says, we run. We just have to be on the run, and they're going to be on the run.
Mhm.
So that's pretty cool. Apparently, from the cover of next issue, we're going to see Sandman.
Amen. Yeah.
That'll be cool. What I think is going to be crazier is, I saw a solicitation for one where it says that Peter and Richard are working together.
For
So that,
16.
I think so. I think that's 16. So eventually Peter will find out, and they have to work together. And I think right now,
Right.
with how desperate everything is, Peter's probably like, you know what? You're probably more protected in that suit. Go ahead.
Right. And I think that's what's going to plant the seed for later conflict between them.
Right.
Is he's either one, he's going to get so we're just talking about responsibility. Again, what if they are working together and he's faced with a decision where he either kills the person or lets his son die? What's he going to do?
Right.
Is his moral compass going to be able be upheld when faced with a decision of kill kill this guy or let my son die?
Right. And I feel like the responsibility thing is going to be so important because I feel like Peter's going to take it a certain way and Richard's going to take it a different way. And it makes me kind of think like it might go in the way of like if you remember God of War 2018 when like Atreus finds out he's a god and he just
Yeah,
turns into this fucking just little asshole
yeah,
and
he's just a shithead. Yeah,
yeah, and it's until he gets checked, you
yeah,
know. And I feel like Peter's going to have to be the Kratos in that situation and check him. And until he checks him, it's going to be bad. It's going to.
right. And there was I can't remember off the top of my head now, but there was a parallel I was going to make to another book recently with it was like it's like a Batman and Robin situation, kind of, you know what I mean? But like um in a really weird way because this Peter Parker has never really had that responsibility. You know what I mean? Because 616 Peter, all this happens to him when he's in high school. So he has to grow up, like already having to deal with all of this shit that's happened to him. Whereas this Peter Parker is in his 30s, basically has what he wants out of life, even though he's always kind of felt like one thing is missing. But now that he has it, he hasn't really had time to adjust or grow with this idea that with great power must come great responsibility.
And I
So
think I think Miles coming into the universe is really going to help him. I think
yeah, I think so too. Right.
he's going to have it's going to be a younger Spider-Man, but it's going to be a very more experienced Spider-Man.
Right.
I feel
Exactly.
like
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
and
It'll be really
and I
interesting.
mean, who better to train Peter in that than Miles, who was basically trained by 616 Peter and helped out
Right.
by him, and they
Right.
worked together in Spider-Man. They worked
Right.
together all the time. They went through Secret Wars together.
Right.
So
And now they
like,
coexist in the same universe. Like so
yeah,
yeah. No, I agree. Yeah, it'll be interesting dynamic to see what happens in Ultimate Spider-Man Incursion. Um, but I think it'll also be kind of intriguing to see how the dynamic with Peter and Richard will be.
yeah.
In that you kind of get that Batman and Robin
And I feel
situation,
like it's going to
but
get to a
without like
point.
the experience of the elder
Well,
really
I think it's
having.
going to get to a point where he's gonna feel like, well, this is my dad that's listening to me, that's here for me. I'm going to listen to my dad here, in here, not
Yeah,
you. You haven't been here.
yeah,
Where have you been? I'm
right.
gonna listen to
And
a
what
father that's
happens
been
if the AI dad is going to be telling him something different in his head from what, and then you have real life Peter who's saying like, "Hey man, like you really need to, you can't do this, or you stop doing this, or do this way." Like it's going to be a big power struggle for them,
yeah,
I think.
yeah. And I
It'll
can't
be
wait for
really
it.
cool,
There's
man.
so much that's just gonna
Yeah.
like this has to be go ongoing for a long time because there's so much that just is happening that needs to get wrapped up. I we haven't seen Ben and Jonah in like a
Yeah.
couple of now. But what are they up to? Dude,
If you had to like spitball like a issue count for this to go, how long do you think it would go on for?
it has to go for at least 30. At least.
30? Bro, I was gonna say 75.
I wouldn't be surprised, but for now, like I believe they said that something like right now they only have like the first couple years mapped out.
Yeah, but
So
like man, maybe that's just me being really like ridiculously optimistic, but I don't know, man.
I'm hoping they give it the Bendis treatment. I'm hoping it just goes and goes and goes and goes. I'm
Goes
hoping.
until they got nothing left. Yeah. Hell,
Yeah.
man. Like even if the universe winds down, keep the book going. Who cares?
Yeah.
Let it exist on
I
its
don't
own.
think I don't think with the sales that it's doing that Marvel wants to let this book go.
Yeah.
It's making too much money for
Right, and
them.
here's the thing is like there's no reason why you can't have a dedicated team of creators doing the ultimate stuff and have them, you know, rotating in and out. And then because at this point you have a creator writing doing multiple books at any given time, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like there's no reason why they couldn't do an ultimate book and then a like a regular main 616 book.
Right.
I,
Yeah.
dude, you've got Mark Wade doing multiple books, you've got freaking Tom Taylor's in multiple books at the same time, like
Yeah. Which speaking of, I want to speak on a detective for a little bit. As predictable as this book is, I'm having a lot of fun with it. This is a good book. This is
it's
a
not
good.
it's not bad.
I Mikkel Haneen's art.
Oh, dude.
is
Juicy, man.
is some of his best work I've ever seen.
Good stuff, man. I like it.
Like I remember when I first read Tom King's Batman, where McKell,
Yeah.
it is night and day. Do you remember how
I didn't like his art back then.
me neither? But if you go back and look, it's very flat. It's very
Yeah.
and he uses very like flat colors
But
a
it's
lot.
but it I don't know. It has this like weird like 3D rendered look to it that it just
Yeah,
I don't know. I didn't like it back then, but then like Superman and the Authority, I thought it looked really good.
yeah.
And then,
But
there's
this with its like
other
dark
stuff.
Batman being in the dark and Batman,
Yeah. He did great stuff in Just Society of America too with Johns. So I was
yeah,
good too. I
yeah.
was like that.
But I mean, between this, like, this is the type of Batman stories I want. Is this? Give me a
Yeah.
cool mystery, even if it's predictable. Focus on the family dynamics. Like Damien going to prison in this, that was fun.
Yeah, that was cool. Yeah, I like
Yeah,
that.
that was fun. Damien going to prison to just and him fucking it up, but for a good reason because kids were being abused.
Yeah.
Like, hey, this is great. And then seeing Batman crack a smile when he hears that Damien fucked up, but it was to save other kids.
Yeah.
To see it's almost like every problem that I had with Philip Kennedy Johnson's is fixed in this. So I'm enjoying it. I mean, I already know Asima's going to be the chick's mom. I feel like everybody should know that by now.
It's her, bro. I think it's her.
I
It's
think it's
not
the mom.
really?
Yeah, I think it's the mom.
See, I 100% think it's Scarlet.
I think it's the mom because if you remember, uh, when they're talking in like that place about the injection, she's like, "Shh, shh, we can't we can't talk about this here." And then even Batman's like, yeah, somebody's listening.
Okay.
Somebody's listening. She can't
I
speak
don't know.
freely here. I think it's the mom. We haven't seen the mom since flashbacks.
That's true. That's a good point. I don't know.
And
Sometimes I don't
and
know.
of course I would see her being the Asima because she's the one that was initially begging Thomas Wayne to kill Joseph, to not save Joseph Chill.
Yeah, that's a good point. I
So
don't
I
know.
think it's the mom, and I think it's pretty obvious when you think about it. It's the mom, but it's still fun. It's still great.
Yeah, at first I was like, this is just the same shit he was doing with Nightwing. Retconning something about the past that doesn't really need to be messed with. But I don't know. I still think it was a little ridiculous to do all that in the story. Like, here's the thing. This is kind of I like this story, but this is kind of also my problem with Batman. Why does this story have to always have to have some significance to Batman's origin? Like, why can't it just be like this is just an issue in Gotham? Like, why
See,
can't it be just
I understand that.
yeah, like, you know what I
To
mean?
me, it's
Like,
the suspension of disbelief where I have to believe that Bruce Wayne, world's greatest detective, didn't know about this, didn't know about Joseph Chill having a kid, didn't know about Joseph Chill being denied, wanting to be
well,
denied
right. Like,
his
and like,
mom,
here's the
and
thing: is like, if you want to apply World's Greatest Detective, is like, why wouldn't you look into every bit of history of your parents' killer that you could find? Like, was it
right.
really that hidden?
Why is it now that you find out that Thomas Wayne saved Joseph Chill? Why is that now? That should have
Yeah,
been, but for the world's greatest, the suspension of disbelief is what gets me. I'm like, world's greatest detective should have known that. I
yeah. I
mean,
don't know. I just yeah.
it's pretty much gets to a point where I'm like,
See, and
how
now
many
you
family
now you make
secrets
me
do you
hate it
not
twice
know?
as much. So thank you.
What's that?
You made me hate it twice as much now
But
because
it gets to a point
it's a
where it's
character
like, how
flaw.
many family secrets did you not know of if you're the world's greatest detective? Why didn't you know about it?
Dude, that is a character flaw, bro. Because
Yeah,
like
I get
somebody's
it.
always like yeah, how good are you if somebody's always pulling the wool over your eyes, Batman?
Exactly.
Like, you're making me, you're bringing out the Batman hate again.
I know, man. But I would rather have a grounded story like this.
I need me another Dark Age so I don't go into Batman hater mode.
I would rather have something more grounded like this than a failsafe, than a grandiose Batman.
Oh, absolutely, bro.
Batman works best here.
If I have to see Batman fall from the moon again, free fall from the
Yeah, that
moon,
was insane. I'm glad Chip Zdarsky like redeemed his run with that final arc because
still
good God,
hate it.
that final arc was just everything I want from a Batman book. Everything. It
Hey
was
man, if you're gonna finish it, you may as well finish it strong, you know?
it
Like,
felt like a whole brand new run, dude. It didn't even it
well,
didn't
DC
say
was like,
anything.
hey man, you know, Jim Lee and Jeff Loeb are gonna come back, and well, we're through all the tie-ins, and we're kind of doing this new thing where you can kind of do whatever you want.
Yeah,
So you want to do whatever you want for like 6 issues until Jeff and they're ready to go, like then you could just go back to Marvel, I guess, and
right.
do Captain America. Like, it's
There is
such a weird, and oh, dude, I will forever give Chip a hard time now because he was on Batman, he was on Daredevil, and he even talked shit about Bendis not doing the Batman
yeah,
Daredevil book, and he didn't do it either.
no. Yeah, and that could have been
Come
something
on, Chip.
great. That could have been something great.
Come on,
Because
Chip. I'm calling
you
you out.
have
I'm calling you out, bro. Now that Marvel and DC are gonna do another team up, I need to see you do a Batman Daredevil book, bro. Like, come
oh,
on.
imagine if
Talk,
Chichetto did that art too. Oh my god.
yo, a Chucheto Batman?
Oh my
You'd be
goodness.
crazy, dude.
That would be
Oh my
insane.
God.
That would be nuts.
Okay, what villains would you want him to draw?
Chichetto? Oh,
Yeah, dude, what Batman villains? Okay, here we go. Clayface.
yeah. That's what first came to my head was Clayface.
Clayface. Okay, pick three. Clayface, Mr. Freeze, and ah, Scarecrow. I think you have a sick ass Scarecrow design, dude.
Oh yeah, his Scarecrow would be
That would
insane.
be fire, dude.
And not even that, like him
Ah,
doing like the hallucinations from Scarecrow.
yes, dude. It would be
Oh my
so. It would be
God,
sick, dude. Oh, it
that
would
would
be
be
so
nuts.
cool.
You know, yeah, that'd be great. That'd be dope. That'd be
Uh,
dope. And I'm probably saying it just because he was in recently in that Dark Patterns book. But give me more Scarface, damn it. Give me more Scarface. Like,
Hell
dude,
yeah, dude.
like
That would be
seeing Scarface in that Dark Patterns was like dope. Like,
Could you imagine like Batman and Daredevil teaming up on a case and the villain is Scarface?
dude, that would be dope. It's Scarface and Kingpin working together. Like,
Oh, that would be cool.
yeah, it would be like, oh shit. Like, that would
Or
be dope.
or you could just go like strictly like crime mob bosses and have Kingpin with one of the mob bosses in Gotham. But
Yeah,
then you have like they have a rogue from each one of the galleries working for each other, but they sick them on the other hero.
that'd be dope. That'd be
Okay,
dope.
okay. And in that event, who's the Batman villain you choose to fight Daredevil?
Oh, I would definitely have say I'm just gonna say it. Deathstroke. If we had Deathstroke going
That
after
would be
Daredevil,
sick, dude.
whoo!
That would be sick.
Yeah, if like
Okay, do
Deathstroke
you
is
think
hunting,
Daredevil could take Deathstroke? Not to be like a versus battle, but like I've never thought about that.
if he could take on Taskmaster, I mean,
Okay, well, okay, that's fair. But
you
Tony
know,
Masters is a bit of like a
lately he's
jobber.
been a punching bag, dude. Lately, like he's been getting jobbed
Lately,
left
he's
and
been
right.
a jobber forever.
He shouldn't be, because I remember the '90s, he was a badass. Like I remember him going around and just
I
put,
don't even remember when the transition happened for him to be like funny, silly jobber, but I feel like it
yeah,
was forever ago.
yeah. It's weird. It's so weird because now it's just like they use him as like the measuring stick to be like, oh my god, he took down Taskmaster, so he's got to be a problem. Like it seems like that when they introduce any new villain,
But if
it's like,
everybody's beating Taskmaster's ass, who's
yeah,
really like how high is the bar?
right, right. But it's like, oh shit, he took down
Like
Taskmaster.
Spider Girl could probably kick Taskmaster's ass at this point.
Yeah,
You know what I mean?
yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah.
what? I mean, whatever, man.
Right.
It's Taskmaster, but okay.
And for Batman, what I would like is, yeah,
Bullseye.
yeah. I was about to say, just do Bullseye. I mean,
Yeah,
that would be perfect. I mean, if
that would be tight.
for Batman to run into Bullseye would be fun.
And then
Like,
I also think about how how much Bullseye fucking hates Daredevil.
yeah,
And then you can see him be like, "Oh hell no, there's no way this guy's gonna kill Daredevil and not me." And then they get into a mix up because he's just like, "You're not gonna kill my guy."
Right.
Ah, it would be so good to see
And even Deathstroke, if he
Deathstroke
finds out
versus
he's going after
Bullseye.
Batman, will probably be like, "You're going after Batman?
He's like,
You
"Hell no."
you're
Yeah,
not qualified enough to go after Batman. You're gonna fail." Like I feel like that's exactly
yeah,
what
and
Deathstroke
then Bullseye will
say.
take that personally,
Yeah.
obviously.
Yeah, he's gonna be like, "You're not trained like I am. You're not,
That's hella funny.
like
It would be so good, dude.
yeah, that would be fire.
That would be so cool.
Yeah, and especially Chichetto drawing it, that'd be sick.
That would be insane. Yeah.
Um, real quick, real quick, this is gaining quality for me now. This is getting
It's
good.
good, dude. It's
This
good.
is
I
getting
like it.
good.
I really
Yes,
like it. Yes.
I love this whole thing with the green. I feel like Mark
Hey,
Waid is kind of
shout out to Tefe Holland, dude.
dude, that was so cool.
Yes.
That was
Yes,
so cool.
dude. Okay. Ever since I read Brian K. Vaughan Swamp Thing, I'm like, where the hell has she been, bro?
Yeah.
Then
And
bam,
not
she's right
that
here.
isn't she like technically Constantine's daughter?
Yeah, she's like Constantine, Abby, and Alec's daughter.
Right.
Because Alec, if I understand it correctly, Alec possessed John's body with some magic and then obviously impregnated uh Abby,
Right.
Abby Arcane. So yeah, I think, dude, shout out to Tefe Holland for showing
That
that,
was
man.
awesome. I
That was
loved
sick.
it too. She got that stupid card and threw it. She was like, hell.
Yes, dude, that was like
Like,
she hates the Justice League, bro.
yeah,
She
and her just being like, you know what, I saved the day. Screw you guys. You want to get pay me back? Don't ever talk to me again. Leave
dude,
me alone.
and then Dan Mora just making her look great.
Oh, he draws her so good too. I mean,
Dude, and
it's
then all of this stuff with Martian Manhunter and
that was great. And seeing Batman
yes.
kind of give a compassionate yet a little stern pep talk with him, where he's just
Yeah,
like,
saying like, hey man, like there's like basically like what the hell is wrong with you? You should have trusted us. Like you're the backbone of our team. Like we got you, bro. Like basically like
yeah,
don't
but I
lie.
also understand that you feel deaf and blind right now and you're losing your
Yeah,
mind and you think that since your powers are unpredictable, you're a
right.
you're basically a threat to us and you're not. You're our friend. You're such a you're such an important piece to this team. We need you. And I
Right,
feel like that was
exactly.
so important. Like
Something
that's
that I feel like
probably the
John needed to
only
hear.
JLU thing that feels like JLU in this is like Batman going after Martian Manhunter being like, "You lead us, bro.
Yeah.
You do it. Like you
Yeah, you're like the heart of this. You're like, yeah, you're without you, we're nothing, basically.
right." And he's like, "But I'm useless to the team without it." And he's like, "No, like
Yeah, right, exactly. Like you're still important to us.
right.
I
Like
love
Red
it, dude. It's
Tornado
great.
can't replace what you do." Like,
Right.
you know what I mean? So
Exactly.
I love that. Dan Mora's art, just I mean, we talked about it in Superman, but
Okay,
even
do
this is
you think these Inferno characters are somebody we've seen before?
yeah.
Who? Do you think it's the Legion of Doom?
That's what I thought initially.
Well, they're showing up in like the next couple issues, so
Yeah, that's what I thought initially, but then I'm like, how did they get Airwave? So
his
that's the
parents
only thing that's throwing me
his
off is
parents were
like,
villains, right?
what's that?
His parents were villains.
They were other Airwaves.
Yeah, his dad was a villain, I think.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not impossible.
But it seems like he's upset about it. He was like crying about it at the end of one
Well,
issue.
right, because here's if it is his like okay, let's say it is the Legion of Doom, and the only way I feel like this works is one if because he's been with kind of like under their wing for this period of time with absolute power and everything else happening, like he obviously feels like it's kind of like he feels obligated from his family if his family's kind of telling him like, hey, do this if they've kind of been if they've been recruited by the Legion of Doom in a way to kind of like, hey, you're a villain, you have a son who's been working with the Justice League, tell your kid to be our inside man.
Right.
So I think that might be the case here. is he's kind of doing out of obligation for his family
Right.
and like the legacy of Airwave, but he feels bad about it because he sees like that really these heroes are just trying to do what they can to save everything.
Exactly.
So it's kind of this like moral dilemma of like, I have this legacy of to uphold with my family and my parents and the name Airwave or whatever, but I can see that I can see that there's a better option.
Right.
So I don't know. It's cool. I first thought it was like it's gonna be like classic inside man trope, but with kind of the way that things are going, I don't know. I like it. I think it's really good.
Yeah, I thought the first couple issues were like, okay, what are we doing here? There's nothing really going
See,
on.
like, and it's funny because I kind of felt this way about the beginning of Hickman's Avengers. Is like you have Ex Nihilo and all of those like characters
Oh
that show
yeah.
up on Mars. Like I'm just like, what the hell is this, bro?
Yeah.
And then it all connects to bigger pieces.
Like, hey, I'm the gardener. I plant
Yeah,
life and it's pretty
right.
cool.
Yeah, you have the gardener and you have like the I'm like pulling a fat ass blank now, but you've got like the robots, is it Alephs, whatever they're called?
Yeah. You got
And
those.
yeah, you've got like those things, and yeah, you've got the builders that show up, and eventually, like, and they're all connected in different ways
And
because
then
of
Ex Nihilo
Yonder.
becomes an Avenger, and you're like, what the hell?
Yeah, yeah, and you're like, what the
Yeah.
yeah. So like, oh yeah, and then you find out that they all bow to like Captain Universe because it's their mother, and you're like,
Exactly.
what the shit? Like, yeah, it
Yeah.
doesn't make any sense. And then yeah, it doesn't make any sense until it all makes sense later on. You're like, oh, it makes sense now.
Yeah. And just real quick, I want to ask you, how's this going for you for a person who's not really much of a turtle fan?
I like it, dude.
Yeah.
I like it. I think it's really good.
Yeah, me too. I think that's great.
It's funny that you brought that up because I was going to ask you what you thought about issue 7.
I like this issue a lot. I'm loving that he's changing like the dynamics. Like usually it's Leo and Raph who are in each other's face. Now it's Mikey and Raph.
Yeah.
Usually it's Mikey who's the glue of the turtles, but it's Donnie here.
Right.
It's
And Donnie's also kind of like he's going to be like kind of the sleeper leader of things, I think,
oh
by the
yeah.
end of this arc. And
Yeah.
they're going to realize that he's not quite as crazy as they think he is.
Yeah, he's actually more probably the most sane out of all of them,
Yeah.
because
Yeah.
I'm loving it. I think it's great.
Dude, the art is just insane, dude.
Yeah.
Juan Ferreira is just sick, dude.
Yeah, he's doing
So
a
good.
killer job. He's doing a
He did that Venom War Zombiotes
okay.
miniseries. That was incredible too. He does great stuff, dude.
Yeah, but pretty much in this, the turtles are on the run, and the main
Yeah.
enemy in this is pretty much the DA that's working with the foot.
Yeah, DA Hale, right?
Yeah, and he has like the foot as like his police force.
Yeah. But
So
they're like obviously he's probably if he's not aware of it, he's okay with it. Them like mugging people like the businesses and collecting money from like the streets and stuff. But like,
yeah,
he's crooked himself, so I can't imagine he's gonna stop them.
right.
Yeah, I think it's really, really good. It's good stuff, dude. I like it.
It just makes me wonder. Just keep this in mind. It makes me wonder that if Splinter can speak from the mystic realm, Shredder's probably able to as well.
Do you think maybe he's influencing Karai?
It could be. I think both of them are communicating with
Hey
their
man, I mean, from what I know of Turtles like lore, like it kind of goes hand like they kind of go hand in hand, like they're always in like that eternal battle. You know what I mean?
right, right. And not even that, like Shredder killed the first incarnations of the turtles and Splinter, so
Right, because
we've already seen them come back already.
I was just gonna ask you because isn't like the updated continuity that they were like reborn from like the ancient Hamato clan?
Right, right. And
So
they kind of did this in the first arc too, where basically like it was Leo that was the crazy one because he was hearing voices in his head basically in like the first couple arcs where he's
well,
hearing
because he went with
voices.
the turtles, right? Like he went to go like meditate with the turtles, right? And like be
Yeah,
one
but this
with
is
them.
I'm talking about like basically before.
Like forever, like but back.
Yeah, because basically Leo is the one that finds out that they're all reincarnated. Splinter knows, but Splinter isn't
Okay,
told. But Leo ends up hearing his mother's voice.
okay.
And you kind of see that like and then it kind of shows a flashback of when Shredder killed her and the
Hmm.
kids in front of Splinter before they killed Splinter.
Okay.
And so basically like in this like Leo would be meditating and then he would hear like his mother's voice. And then he's like, I think we have a mother. And everybody's like, no, what the hell? Like, and of course, Donnie is like the science guy. And he's like, I don't believe in reincarnation. That just sounds so stupid. And they
Right.
end up finding out that that is the case. So I feel like that's kind of like the flip here, where it's like Donnie now is listening to the mystic shit.
Right. And rather than like, Shredder and Splinter being reincarnated again because the boys are still alive, I guess, you just have them acting from the spirit realm rather than from like being reborn in a new age.
Right. And I mean, I thought it was really cool too that we saw in this issue that Splinter was in those first five issues with the individual turtles in
Yeah,
each.
all of them the whole time, right? Yeah, I
He
thought
was
that was
next to
cool.
them the
Well,
whole
and then
time.
it makes sense for Donnie to be able to like say what like know what they were doing.
Exactly. That's when they were like, how do you know this? Like, okay,
I
you're not so
This book
crazy.
is it's cool, dude.
I'm
Like
loving it. Yeah.
it's it's so crazy to me. Like when I think about like now that the fact that I'm reading like Ninja Turtles and Transformers and G.I. Joe and all
Yeah,
of
dude.
these things, like never in a million years like would I like if you would have asked me like even like 3 or 4 years ago, like when I was like really like kind of like finally deep into indie stuff. Um, I don't know that I ever would have imagined like reading G.I. Joe and Transformers and Turtles and hell, dude, like I'm still reading. I read Space Ghost, I read Johnny Quest, I read Flash Gordon, I read Gotcha Man. Like I read all this stuff from the 80s and 90s and early 2000s that was like stuff that I watched as a kid, but stuff
Right.
that I never really had like a vested interest into other than it was just on TV and it was a cartoon or it was like a TV show or a movie that I liked, the Turtles movie from the 80s, like that kind of stuff. Like it was never anything I had a huge interest in, but I'm enjoying everything. Like
Yeah.
everything that I'm reading is good or great or incredible. And it's comics are like they have it's like a golden age, dude, for
Dude,
storytelling in
I
comics. It's
know.
so cool. It's
And I,
so
I
cool.
would argue that like, Turtles has been out for 40 years and I'd say they're
Yeah.
bigger than they've ever been right now with the last movie that came out with Ronin, with this like new updated,
Right.
reboot.
And then there's going to be a Ronin movie coming out, right?
Yeah,
And
they've been talking about a Ronin video game as
isn't the
well. Like
game kind of still like in development?
Ronin like revamped the Turtles, dude. Like
Yeah, it really
everyone got into
reinvigorated the franchise for sure.
it was the Turtles Dark Knight Returns where it
Yeah.
just changed everything and made everybody interested again.
Yeah.
Really
I
cool.
I had I had seen this like Reddit post about the last Ronin movie and what if they put it in the 80s movie continuity
Ooh.
and you have that Mikey that we all know as like the funny silly jokester but having him be this like really dark twisted version of that where you still get the dynamic of the brothers in his head and all of that.
See, that could work.
And it would be really cool because it would kind of see like he's grown in a way as we've grown over the years, but just to see like what's happened to him and to be able to revisit that. And I also think if you don't do it, like if you want to do CGI, fine, but to not have the practical suit, if you're not doing a practical suit, do not do the movie that way.
Right. Right.
That's my one condition. Like, and that sounds like, but I think there's something that it brings like that certain quality to it.
Yeah. Yeah. Especially if you're going to use that version of Mikey, it needs to be the animatronic. Like,
Yeah, like yeah. You use the practical effects, use whatever you need to, and if you need to do CGI touch-ups the way that they're doing with like the thing, do it, dude. Like, but I think to not do it with the original stuff is like a missed opportunity if that's the route they decide to go.
agreed. I know you got to get going. I know you said, but well, real quick, it'll be the last book we talk about. Wow. 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 Does Ryan North have some shit to say? And, and not even that, like, there's so many highlights in this, dude. Seeing
Yeah.
Jen here, especially knowing
Yeah.
Jen and Ben's past, and then seeing them be so cordial, and Ben just kind of wishing her the
I'm so
best.
glad she was in this, dude, because like seeing because Rainbow Rowell's She-Hulk is over now, unfortunately.
Right.
It was just like straight up like 25 issues of just gas, dude. It was so good every
Does
single
it
month.
feel like her? She-Hulk here?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it feels completely in tune with the She-Hulk that she was writing in there. But like okay, so like in Rainbow Rowell's She-Hulk run, she started this fight club, and I think they reference it in this issue. Um, but yeah, this she starts this fight club, and like Ben is in there, Titania, Volcania, um, Thunder, I think, is in there as well. So all of like the like Patsy Walker, Hellcat is in it. Um, I think Sue might have even showed up in an issue or so. But yeah, it's like all of like it's all of like the street level characters. If they just want to brawl and get some like frustration out, they do it. Like they kind of just meet once a week or once a month or whatever, and they just fight it out. But it's supposed to be like a controlled environment, so like they've been like meeting up regularly and doing that, so they have a bit of like a relationship, like kind of going again. They're friends again. Like they hang out regularly.
That's dope.
So it's cool to see that carry over, especially with like her with Sue and him, and it's yeah, I don't know. I love
Yeah,
this. That was
I
good.
love it. I'm loving this, dude. I never thought like I would adore a Fantastic Four run so bad, and not even that. These Fantastic Four tie-ins have been so great for
Yeah,
event.
dude.
Like they've been a highlight rather than like a detour. They've been
Yep.
like a
The
highlight
Blood
for,
Hunt tie-ins were good.
and not even that. We're seeing Blood Hunt mentioned in this. We're seeing it all kind of,
Well,
where
right, because like part of this, well, one, this whole thing came out of Blood Hunt
right.
with Doom taking over as Sorcerer Supreme at the end of that, but also it's like it lends the like it feels alive. The universe feels alive at this point, right now at least, because things have been happening kind of organically, and one thing is just leading into the next, and not like almost in the opposite of the way that DC was setting up events for the last several years, and it's just like bam, one tie-in from this previous event is the reason this event exists. But it's like, you know, clearly the events of Blood Hunt were important to One World Under Doom because that's when he took the mantle. But also, you have all of these vampires that are now having to coexist with humanity. And how do you fix that problem? And how does Doom address that problem right now? And we don't really know
I
yet.
feel like Doom made them the villains on purpose so that he could gain trust and power, very similarly to what's happening in the real world with certain different people that people are certainly now hating. And, I feel like it's very much speaking on that, where it's like, hey, these people
Yeah,
are marginalized. They're hated for being marginalized. And
right.
the
Because
leader is taking advantage of that to gain their support.
right.
We're seeing that with these vampires. Even I thought this was so cool just seeing the kids and seeing Reed trying to help the kids, seeing Ben being like, "Nah, they're just
Yeah,
kids, bro. I don't care if they're vampires. They're fucking kids." Like,
exactly. Like, and it's yeah, I a very bold issue, I would say,
yeah,
because it addresses a lot of, socioeconomic and political stuff that's going on right now. And while also still keeping it very relevant to the story being told in the larger Marvel universe.
right. And Doom's only in this issue for the first page.
Yeah, yeah, and it's
Everything
just
else is
because
just his influence and how it's affected the world around everybody.
right, because it's
That's
basically just kind of summing up what happened in the first issue of One World Under Doom. Like it's not he's not even in the issue. It's just kind of like him standing triumphantly now that he's staked his claim over Earth.
right. And then we're also seeing them being like, we're seeing his flags, and so it's kind of like
Yes.
very much. Now, I want to ask you this: do you think that there's something here? Because Ben, literally the second page, he says, "As crazy as this is, this all feels normal. It feels increasingly normal." Do you think Doom's putting like a thing out there to make everybody feel like this is
Like magic.
like a basically like a pacifist type magic, where it's like, hey, no, 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 this is, don't worry, you're not in danger. This is normal. You're safe.
Yeah,
Normal.
almost kind of like a very like subtle
Submissive, like
like
it's making everybody a little
manipulation spell.
submissive to everything Doom's doing.
Yeah, kind of like very subtle manipulation now that because here's the thing is like while Doom is incredibly well versed in magic, to hold the mantle of Sorcerer Supreme, I think, kind of changes things a little bit because
Right.
he now has access to levels of magic or like the Vishanti, for example, like a direct link to them, like in ways that he didn't have before. So like, what are the repercussions of that? One, two, what can he do now that he has access to this whole like other level? Like,
Exactly.
who knows, dude? Like
It's seeing Doom come into power politically and coming into new power magically, and him just kind of taking reign. And this is Ryan North being like, I got some shit to say about what's going on right now.
yeah, dude.
I got a lot of shit to say, and I don't really care.
Well, like, and here's the thing is like, again, I said at the beginning of the episode, I may as well say it at the end of the episode too, for those that didn't want to listen. Comics are a bit political by design. Like
Yep.
there's no way around it.
Yep.
They kind of gained popularity during wartime. A lot of comics were war-centric comics. You know what I mean? Like, and
X-Men was literally made to about civil rights.
right, exactly, like exactly, yeah.
You
X-Men is a direct reference to real life marginalized oppressed groups. You know what
And
I
now
mean?
we're
Like,
seeing that in this brilliantly done with vampires. Vampires are now like they're the outcasts. They're the ones that everybody fears. They're the ones that
you know, it's so funny to like read this issue. One, because I really don't give a shit about vampires.
right,
Like in fiction, in any form of fictional media, vampires, pirates, and probably those two, honestly, are just two things I do not really care that much about. Vampires, especially. The one exception is Little Monsters by Jeff Lemire and Dustin Nguyen.
well, I
I'll
mean,
put it
Jeff
up above.
Lemire,
It's
Jeff,
fire, dude.
that's
It's absolute smoke. But
yeah,
anyway, so like that's vampire book. I'll read. I'll do. That's the only vampire book I'll read. I'll read it, Dan. I love that book. But as somebody that doesn't really care for vampires that much, I really felt for them, dude. Like you're like,
dude,
oh, damn, like you really feel bad for them.
yeah,
No,
and
like
it's
normally I'd be like, fuck the vampires. But like, you know what I mean? And I feel like that's his writing like lends itself to that I feel that way because like if he wasn't a good writer, I obviously wouldn't feel like bad for those characters, you know what I mean? Or if the story wasn't propped up in a way that he could deliver it the way
right.
that he did.
And I feel like there's that final page on this. It's such like a call to the MAGA folks, where it's like all the flags. Only Doom can save us. Only Doom can save this country.
I thought it, yeah, I
It's
thought it was funny.
insane. It's insane how
Yeah, I thought
might
it
be too
was
on the nose for some people, but for me, it's like I feel like him being on the nose is the point. He's like, this is
right. Like, and here's the thing: is like if you are going to be political and you're going to be like kind of outright about it in this way, at least do it in a way one that is relevant to the actual story being told. You know what I mean? Like, there's ways to go about it. Like, if it were just like a random issue of Fantastic Four and a house in the background. Like I won't even go that way and attack that group of people. Well, I'll go the opposite. Like let's hell let's say you even had a house and it was in the background and Ben and Alicia were walking down the street, and there was a fucking house with just nothing but Biden Harris
right,
2024 stuff on it. I would tell you why. Why? Why did you need to put that in the book? That is unnecessary. It doesn't add anything of value to the story. And in fact, it just takes away from it because you're just putting shit that doesn't actually need to be in there because it's not relevant to that universe. But when you do it in this way and it draws a similarity to real world stuff, it's that's doing it tastefully. I feel you're not dancing around it in a stupid. I don't want to talk about it. I kind of want to talk about it, but I don't really want to put my name behind my words. Basically, like I'm not going to stick up for what I'm saying. But in this way, it's done tastefully. It's done within context of the story, and it just makes sense. Like it's not Yeah, am I just yapping here? Or does that make sense to you?
No, it makes complete sense. I think
Because
it.
like there are ways to do it and there are ways not to do it, and this is I feel a way
I
to do it.
think North and Dennis Camp are perfecting the way you're supposed to do it. I think
Right,
Dennis.
and I don't think there's anything inherently wrong with politically charged stories because you're dealing. And here's what's like kind of almost bothersome to me is because you're dealing with characters that stand up for the utmost good
Right,
all the time. And you're going
right.
to tell me that a group of people or this certain person does not deserve to be saved or does not deserve to have that basic human right of being alive and being protected and feeling safe?
And not even that. I'll go a step above. These are comic book writers. They write superheroes. They're not
Yes.
going to be on the side of what Donald Trump is doing. They're going to be speaking against it.
Or any politician for that matter.
Right. They're not going to be on, they're on the side of superheroes who save people, who put people first. So, of course,
Yes,
they're going to be
right.
against
It
any
is
administration that is not putting people first.
right.
That's how it goes. Mark Wade has voiced this. Everybody has voiced this. We're seeing in
Well,
North's
right.
writing, we're seeing in Camp's writing.
Exactly. And like and to take it one step further, look at what some of these characters are stand for in the material that is being written. That is put out over the last 80 to 100 years for some of these almost 100 years for these characters.
Right.
Captain America,
Yeah.
for example. Like yes, he is Captain America, but how many times has he stood against his own government?
Right. Are you going to tell
Numerous
me
times.
him punching out Nazis is too political of a message
Right.
now? Like,
Exactly, and it shouldn't be because
right.
why is standing up against hate like cause political division or division of any kind? You know what I'm like at the end of the day, like it's it's almost just absurd to see the lengths that people are willing to go just to bitch about something. When you can if you just a little bit of critical thinking, if you just apply a little bit of critical thinking to what you're consuming, you're gonna get something out of it that isn't just straight up just shit.
Yeah.
Like to not even sugarcoat it, if you're not doing a little bit of critical thinking while you're reading at all, you're just reading for
Right.
shits like you're just reading for no reason. Like you're reading for shits and giggles, dude. Like
Right. Like,
yeah.
I get it that people want to go into comics to get away from the real world stuff, but it's like sometimes it's just unavoidable. Sometimes you
Right.
just
Right. And here's the thing is like go read Bone by Jeff Smith if you want to get away and go to a fantasy world, you know what I mean? Or fuck, dude, I don't know. Like there are so many comic books out there that you can read that are not gonna that you can escape from politics or the
right.
real world issues. Go
Like,
read a
dude,
horror comic.
I feel like if Final Fantasy VII first came out today, they'd be like, "Oh my God, they're talking about humanitarians. They're making it too political because it's about humanitarianism." And it's like, everything has a political message in it, whether you know what I mean?
Well,
Because the
I mean,
world,
and here's kind of a philosophy I've lived by for a little while. Um, if you're looking for something, you're gonna find it. Like if or in fact, if you're applying meaning or giving something meaning, like who can really change your mind?
exactly.
Also, like if you're applying meaning to something that doesn't have that isn't there, like who really can change your mind at that point? Like it's just it's a senseless fight one to have with somebody that thinks that way.
100%.
So it's just not worth the energy, in my opinion.
Right. I think it's great. I'm loving this One World Under Doom event. I'm loving
Yeah,
what North is doing. I'm loving that he's using the Fantastic Four book to show the repercussions of what the actual event is doing.
yeah,
It's not advancing the event, but it's showing what this event is doing to the world around them. And I think that's a
right,
really cool way because it feels so natural. This doesn't feel like a tie-in. This
right,
feels
exactly,
like another Fantastic Four issue that's addressing what's happening in this event.
definitely.
I love it. I know you got to go, but next week I have a small poll this week. It's going to be an
Okay,
easy for me. So next week I do want to speak about this because I think this is so fucking
that book is
great.
sick, dude.
I think
That book
this
is
is
so
such
good.
a great book. I want to talk about it.
Yeah, it's great.
I want to talk about the new updated meeting of Dina and Ollie.
Yes, yes,
I
yes,
want
yes,
to
yes.
talk about that. So I really want to go in depth with that because not even that. Ryan Sook is doing good Lord.
Dude,
This
he's
is
such
one of
a
the
cool guy,
best
man.
looking books you could be reading right
Yes,
now.
dude. Okay,
Incredibly.
and we'll talk over the next few days, and maybe we'll just think about books that are ongoing that we haven't really had a chance to talk about,
Yeah.
and we'll like really like dive into them a little bit.
Yeah. Because I feel like this is just such a good book that we need to talk about it. This is incredible.
Oh yeah,
I'm loving everything about Black Canary in this.
yeah. It's a kick-ass book, dude.
Yeah.
It's
And
dude, and like here's the thing, it's just two badass women fighting each other with
dude,
some cool backstory stuff. What's
yes,
not to like? And the art looks great.
yes,
Oh,
100%.
I love it. It looks so.
If you want to see just, if you want to see Dina and Shiva just beating the ever loving crap out of each other,
It's so cool, dude. I
it
like
is insane. It is awesome. And don't sleep on Black Canary because she's a bad bitch. She's awesome. Like,
it.
she is awesome. And I mean that in the most endearing way of
Hey
bad bitch.
man,
She is,
it's so cool to get like this book, Zatanna,
yeah,
like there's like the Batgirl book is good. Like there's so many good books right now. Like even
dude.
the question is good.
Yeah. The
Ah,
women in comics are important, man. And I think
I just wish Power Girl was good.
I know. Hopefully
Ah,
she gets a new
I
hopefully she
don't. I think she's on the shelf for a little while. I think she's gonna be JSA only, which I think will be good because Supergirl is starting up in June. So
right. Well, I'm gonna be checking out that Sophie Campbell
yeah,
Supergirl.
I'm gonna check it out for sure. Yeah,
Yeah, I want to try
definitely.
that. So, but all
Von
right.
Villain's on Colors, so
Who?
Von Villain's on Colors for that.
Oh, great, great. Yeah, it's gonna
That'd
look
be
good.
good. Yeah, I gotta bounce. So all right, catch you next time, y'all.
Stay safe out there, guys.
Yes,